I could not be around him. If I wasn't around him, then he like assumed I was cheating, which is kind of like, I guess, like the first kind of signs where I was like, this seems pretty controlling. But, you know, it never really sounded controlling. It just always sounded like he always had the best interest at heart.
Why would he be suspecting that you're cheating?
I think it's just because he was insecure. Yeah, I think he was insecure. I honestly feel like maybe he also just said it just to say it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because he's such a narcissist. He might have just honestly just said it just to say it. So then I could, you know, from that point on say, oh my gosh, like constantly prove to him that I wasn't cheating.
So there was an old interview with Kel that I seen on the CBN network. Did you see that interview? It's actually here on YouTube.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
And he talks about infidelity in your marriage.
I got drunk, right? And I got high for like the first time. We started going through Yellow Pages, and we went through these Yellow Pages. We were like, oh, let's just call some call girls just for fun. And ended up having sex with one of the girls.
So yes, you want to elaborate on that and the circumstances behind that?
Sure, definitely. So he actually let me back up some. So everything was going well in the marriage. Everything was going great. He actually decided that he didn't want to do Kenan and Kel anymore. He didn't want to do all that. He wanted to separate himself from Kenan. And so once the show was over, I think in his brain, he thought like, oh, I'm going to get all this stuff. I'm going to do all these things. Anyway, that actually didn't happen. And like, he just started running out of money. His mom was controlling the money. He was running out of money. So once the money started running out, then I'm like, well, I need to go to school. I need to do something because I don't know what you're doing. Like, you're just like not going to do anything. So then he would actually come with me to my classes in college. And then my professors and I got my first degree. I have a bachelor. Oh, no. Okay. I don't know which part did I leave off at.
Yeah, you back.
Okay.
You said you should get your bachelor's or something.
Yes. So I was at school getting my bachelor's of science in mathematics. And so my instructors and everybody was like, who is this guy? And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's my husband. They're like, your husband cannot come with you to school. And I was like, okay. So Kel enrolled in school at the same time that I went to classes so that he can come with me because he was super like getting just more crazy, more jealous because he was out of work and wasn't working. And so I'm trying to remember. Kel started becoming very physically abusive, emotionally abusive, mentally abusive. I believed he was doing drugs, but he never told me that he was. He actually started doing like going to see psychics and doing witchcraft and acting completely like crazy and insane. And then what happened was that he actually contacted my family. So at the same time that he was acting crazy and he was out of work, for 6 months, he told my entire family and his family that I was cheating on him, that I was doing drugs, that I wasn't with the kids, and he created an entire smear campaign against me. And my son had kind of reenacted a time where Kel had like put me in a chokehold and was choking me out, and he did that to our daughter. And so I just knew that this relationship has to be over. Like this has got to stop. We have to end this. And so I never cheated on him during the marriage. He did all the cheating. He did all the drugs. He did everything. But he made it seem like I was the one. What actually happened was that he planted this whole smear campaign against me, told my parents I was cheating, told his family I was cheating, was telling me, we're going to work on our marriage. And we were going to marriage counseling. We were reading books together. Like, I'm thinking everything is like, you know, getting back to normal. But at the same time, he was taking the kids out of school. He was secretly plotting to remove the kids from me and bring them to his mom's house in Chicago. And I had no clue. Like, I had no idea. Well, around that same time, when the kids were, so his mom came out and, you know, she was like, okay, I want to come, you know, visit with the kids. And the plan was for them to stay in Chicago for a week or two. And then when Kel was done filming the movie, he would come back. Well, what ended up happening?
What movie was this that he was filming at the time?
He was filming Bones. I don't know if you're familiar with Bones.
Yeah.
Okay. And so actually before he filmed Bones, I had gotten a 97% royalty deal after, because I created Ganked. And so I had written Ganked, and I had gotten a $10 million deal to produce $1 million movie every single year for the next 10 years. At the time, Kel was like, I don't want to be on Blockbuster. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And so Kel was acting really strange. So I started looking through his things, and I started actually like paying attention to like where he was going and kind of what he was doing. I started checking the phone bills. And so that's when I noticed in a bank statement that he had been paying for someone else's apartment. It was actually a condo, but he'd been paying to someone else's rent. And so I went there and I figured out it was some stripper girl. She was like, oh my, she knew who I was, she knew who he was, and I completely snapped. I was just like, I couldn't even, I could not, I just was like in shock.
So he had a whole other apartment he was paying for a stripper girl.
Yes, from my money and my parents' money. Like, he didn't even have any money at that time. So from the money that I had from my inheritance, the money that I had saved, and he'd never written a check in his life while we were together, but like he's writing this like scribble scrabble check to this other place. And I went there, talked to her, found out, had concrete evidence. And these are the things that I kept asking him. He would come home with hickeys. He would just do all sorts of stuff. And so I actually had stopped having sex with him, and then he tried to use that. Well, you're not, like, okay, well, you're cheating. I mean, he slept with our publicist. Like, at the time I was 20, our publicist was like 43, and she was ugly and fat. He slept with her. I'm like he just slept with everybody. Like, so many people he was having sex with. And so I was like, that's not safe. So I stopped having sex with him. But then when I had found out that the $10 million deal, he decided to pass up and to get the movie Bones, that they paid him $60,000. I was just like, this man is ridiculous. And then the stripper girl told me, she's like, I told him that he doesn't need to be in that kind of movie. He doesn't need to be in Blockbuster. This is when Blockbuster came out, but I already knew because my background was in science and my minor was computer science. So I knew that we were moving towards, Netflix and streaming. So I'm like, this is like a perfect opportunity, like right when Netflix and everything got started. And so once I talked to the woman and I had gotten proof of everything that Kel had been doing, well, then I told my family. I told my entire family what was going on. But he had already told everybody that I was cheating on him, that I was using drugs. And he, at the same time that he was telling my family that, he was actually isolating me from my family. So my family didn't even talk to me. He was like, oh, your family doesn't like you anymore. They're tired of you asking for money. They're tired of you, just coming to them with everything. I'm your husband. I should be here for you. But instead, he was doing the complete opposite. Doing everything against me. So I actually never cheated on him. He was the one that did all the cheating.
Okay, because on that CBN network, that interview that he did, he actually said that he was he called a call girl or Vegas prostitute or something, and he did that. He did the deed with that prostitute one night, and then he told you about it or something. So is that the same stripper girl that he was paying for, or this was someone else?
Oh no,
completely different situation.
Yeah, this was his regular thing. Like, he'd always be I don't know. I have a gift, so I always I could just tell. I don't know, intuition, gift, whatever you call it, but I could tell when energy was off or energy was different. So there were so many times that I actually caught him in lies about prostitutes. And it was so crazy because he was so happy I was a virgin and I hadn't been with anybody, but yet and still he,
Well, he also mentioned that you cheated on him and then you got an abortion with your first child, and another guy called him and told him that he was with you and that child that you aborted wasn't his child.
She said that, that abortion that we had was actually from another man. It wasn't yours. So at that moment, it was just like, okay, now I'm married to this person. And literally through that marriage, we went through a lot because it was literally like, okay, we went into it with all these lies and deception, and hurt and pain. Do you really love this person? Do this person loves you? Did you take the time to even find out who that was?
Kel decided to stay with his wife. They had 2 kids together. But Kel's wife continued to be unfaithful.
Yeah, Kel has an active imagination, and he just made up that entire amount just to get sympathy so that people would like him.
So you said none of that was true. That he said none of it was true. So you
None of
never
that
even, so you never aborted your first child?
I don't even believe in abortion. I mean, I believe in the right to abortion, but I've never had an abortion. I would never abort my child. No, never.
Wow. So you saying he made that whole entire story up?
Absolutely. He, I don't know if you've ever dealt with a narcissist, but he's kind of like what I call like a good guy narcissist. So he always has to be the good guy. So I'm sure he was using that whole I'm the bad guy person to justify everything that he was planning on doing to me and the kids.